used to tell me when I was a little boy, 5, 6 years old, and having a kind of a morose or boring afternoon. She never told me, well, Stevie, why don't you go read a book or make your bed. I was usually reading something anyway or making my bed. I was pretty neat. But she'd say, why don't you go out and help somebody? And I'd go off across the street, Oak Neck Lane, and help Mr. Muller, old Mr. Muller, rake the leaves, or help Mr. Lawrence with his boat. And there's always this sense in our family, it was kitchen table wisdom, that if you just do small things for other people, that it's also a great way to feel gratified, to feel good about life, to feel happy. One of the areas that's very strong in terms of how helping others benefits the self is with alcoholism. In a study that I was involved in with Maria Pagano, that's been widely cited around the country, if alcoholics go dry at day 1, they typically go into detox for 5 to 6 weeks. You look at where they are 1 year later. If they fulfill the 12th step of the 12-step process, which is to help other alcoholics, they typically have about a 40% recovery rate. And the 12th step can be fulfilled in a number of ways. That means sponsoring other alcoholics, bringing them to meetings. It could be being a greeter at the door. It could be making coffee or setting up the chairs and tables or cleaning up afterwards, or visiting other alcoholics in prison or in detox units and just being there and supportive and giving your testimony. But the alcoholics who report higher levels of helping others have twice the recovery rate. The ones who do everything else in the 12 steps, but they don't disinhibit this capacity to give to others, they have a 22% recovery rate after 1 year. So you double the likelihood of recovery if you help other alcoholics. When we focus on others, there are a couple of things that happen. First of all, it gets the mind off the self and the problems of the self. And in that sense, helping others in small ways is a lot like meditation. Meditation actually primes altruism. There are a number of very good studies now that show that convincingly. Well, why does meditation do that? It's because meditation is essentially an unselfing of the self, if you will. And it allows a kind of window of opportunity to serve others, to bring into your attentive sphere the needs of others. So helping others in small ways tends to benefit us because it gets our mind off ourselves, and it does reduce stress. We know that people who are involved in helping activities tend to be less stressed when you look at their cortisol levels. It also involves parts of the brain that are associated with feeling good. The mesolimbic pathway is a very deeply evolved part of the brain in the limbic system, which is about emotion. When we even think about helping others, but also when we're engaging in face-to-face helping activities, for many people, the mesolimbic pathway gets active, and that means they're feeling happier, and that's a part of the brain that doles out feel-good chemicals like dopamine, and even to some extent serotonin. So there's a kind of wiring there. We know that a chemical is involved when we're helping others, and it's called oxytocin. So helping others primes oxytocin release in men and in women. Well, oxytocin isn't just called the compassion hormone, it's also strongly associated with feelings of tranquility or serenity or inner peace. So suddenly we begin to get a kind of biological profile of this state of other regarding consciousness. Well, there are people who doubt this. I was giving a talk at a big association of widows and widowers about the study on overcoming bereavement given the loss of a spouse, that process is enhanced if you can report just significant levels of reaching out and contributing to the lives of people around you in your community and so forth. So I was giving this talk, and there was a fellow in the back of the room, and he stood up and he said, I don't care what you say. I don't do nothing for nothing. Now this was in New York, okay? So the accent is appropriate. I don't do nothing for nothing. And a lot of people get locked up into this. Well, it's really a kind of a social capitalist kind of a mentality that you don't want to do anything unless you know that you're getting paid back, tit for tat. Some kind of reciprocal law hangs over their neck like a sword of Damocles and limits their altruistic creativity. But in fact, there are these incredible internal benefits. Do people feel happier generally? Yes. Do they feel healthier? Yes. So whether you have a payback or not is irrelevant. The point is that you do better if you live in this kind of a space in life rather than in a space of hostility or bitterness or rumination and so forth. So sometimes people have to get over these kinds of conceptual limitations and just, as they say, pay it forward. Just, live well, live generously, and hope that others will do likewise.